we're not actually meant to be reactive. We can be strategic about our approach, because I was going to share how exactly I was able to save up to $5,000. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Rarosue Amaraibi here. I am a researcher and a content creator based out of Denver, Colorado. On this channel, I really just document my life, navigation of life after a PhD, professional development, my lifestyle, trying to figure out finances, and just adulting in general. So on today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I was able to save up to $5,000 in rent. So yeah, let's get right into it. If you've been on this channel, you know I moved last year from Tampa, Florida, now to Denver, Colorado. Denver is actually a really expensive city, more expensive than Tampa, I'll say. In fact, I literally just saw a list on Instagram. I really don't know if that's true. And it was like talking about the most expensive cities to live in. And Denver was at the top. I'm like, what? Why have I been deceiving myself that California is the most expensive? But I don't know if I should trust that list anyway. Denver is expensive. And so when I moved here, the rent had me on chokehold. And I've just been pushing to pay since last year. So when my lease was like coming to an end, I'm like, oh, can I find something better? In my previous video, I actually did like the tour, or like apartment hunting, touring different apartments in Denver. So if you've not seen that and you like to see and like look at the price range, you can go watch that video after you're done watching this one, of course. But yeah, rent in Denver is expensive. So I've just been like thinking of like, how can I actually save? Because the type of apartment I want to stay, the secure one with all of the things I want, is actually expensive. So how can I save? And so that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys now. So before we dive into the strategies, let's talk about, why do people overpay for rent in the first place? So what I've found out is that we tend to overpay for rent because we treat apartment hunting like online shopping. So we just get on one of the apartment finder sites, like maybe apartments.com, Zillow, we put in our filter, like the price we want, the number of bedroom, and we then just start scrolling through, and the one that look good to us, we apply, we get it, lock in that monthly rent price, like sign the lease and move in, and when our lease is over, we'll move out or we renew. So we do it like that, not knowing that we're not actually meant to be reactive. We can be strategic about our approach, because the rental industry is actually one you can go in with strategy. So landlords usually have bills to pay, property managers have quotas to it, and for new builds, the investors are breathing down their neck to actually have their units filled up. So this actually creates an opportunity for negotiation. So how exactly can we leverage this opportunity? So strategy one, time your move. I just never thought about it that like different times of the year have different like prices, but you could actually time your move. Summer is the peak period, demand is really high, and like these property managers, like they just set high prices and people are scrambling to get it. This is because this is when people are graduating the most. A new school year is starting and people want to move before that. People just easily move during summer, and so the demand is high, prices are high, and when you move in summer, you just get the highest price. So I think I noticed this when, like in the place I live right now, I just randomly went to their website and was checking apartments, and I saw that the same apartment I live in, like the same one bed, square foot and everything, was way cheaper than what I was paying. And I'm like, what's going on here? It was like $200 cheaper. And so that's when I realized like it's really about the time. And so it's better you move in like, I'll say fall, winter or spring. Avoid summer. And so I know what you're thinking, like, oh, I go in, I sign my lease. Of course it's ending in summer, but no, you don't have to like sign a 12-month lease that ends in summer. If your 12-month lease is ending in summer, you can like push it like 15 months and you end in like November or something, or 18 months and you end in January or February. That way, demand like is lower at that point, and the managers, the property managers, they really want to fill up their unit, and so they're like lowering rent, giving you like incentives to come. Like at that point, it will be more like the renters market rather than the or rentees market, whoever, like the person does customers market rather than the the landlord's market or the property management market. So that's one strategy you can take. Strategy number 2, looking for buildings offering concessions. Most of the time, like for example, in Denver, like the type of apartment I was looking for, honestly, all of them are like within 1,800 to like 2,200. That's the base. Like I can't see anything less than that. But you can actually get something cheaper if you are able to find apartments that are offering concessions. So most of the time, apartments offering concessions are usually the new builds. Like I said, maybe time you're moving, maybe because you're in like the low demand period, you can also get concessions from buildings that are not new builds. But like the new builds really give a lot of concessions. Like I said, quarters needs to be they need to fill in their units, and so they are willing to give like a lot of concessions. So they do not reduce their base rent on the market, but they give you concessions that would actually reduce that base rent if you prorate it, right? Because they can't reduce their base rent on market, because that'll just like reduce the quality of their apartment. And besides, like it's a new build, it has everything you want. Like it's not low on quality, but it's just based on just like the market, like the fact that they are new and they need to like fill up everything. They are not yet up to capacity. If you're able to target new builds in your price range, your base price range, you will definitely be able to reduce that, and you can negotiate. So like most of the time they're offering like upfront, like they're like, oh, we're giving 1 month free or two months free if you sign by so time or this. But like do not take it that like that's it. Whatever they say, like that's all you can get. You can actually negotiate with them, like especially when you're not under pressure. And this is another thing, you should start early so that you're not under pressure. You're actually looking at different options, and like you're not just pressed to accept whatever anybody offers. So you can actually negotiate, like, oh, make it 10 weeks free, or give me free parking or some. You can actually negotiate when you actually find like buildings with concessions and all. Then the third strategy that I know really helped me is using an agent. So I actually never knew I could use an agent. I thought maybe agent is just for like buying houses. But for me, like I said, I really wanted cheaper rent. I'm like, where are the cheap rents in this Denver, Colorado? And so I was scrolling on Instagram one day and I saw like adverts for apartments in Denver, and it was good, like with the amenities I need and everything. And I was seeing 1,500. I'm like, where are these people seeing this from? Right? And so I signed up and they had an agent reach out to me. The good thing about them is that I didn't need to pay this agent. So there was no out of pocket money from me going to the agent. All they needed from me was, oh, this person will help you with your search, will go with you on tours, help you negotiate. But like, if you decide on any of the apartment, please list them as the referral. So that's where they get their money from. And I thought it was a really good deal. I think someone else might think like, oh, are you sure they're not going to increase the rent because it's these people that are giving you? For me, I was actually going on the website of these apartments that like they brought to me. Like, and so like I saw that it was actually like if I was to go on my own, this was the price I was going to pay. So it was not increased in any way, shape, or form because I was using the agent. But instead, these agents, because they're in this business, they're able to like identify the buildings, where the concessions are, and also fits your requirements, because you give them your requirements and everything. I really liked the way they like collected all of the options for me. I think they gave me up to 10 options, and I had to pick like 4 for us to tour and all. So it was really like, it just made the search smooth. And they told me like the best time, I think, was like 60 days out that we should start looking, because that's when you actually see and get people actually giving offers and things like that. So that was a really big game changer for me. In case you maybe Denver people, I actually used Smart City Denver. And so one thing again with these agents, like I said, they were able to like really filter my search to exactly what I wanted, but also at a reduced price by looking for the apartments with the concessions. And I never knew about the negotiation that I talked about before, but with them, I saw that like, oh, these people were offering this amount, and they were like, oh, can we do this? Can we add this? Can we add this? And like we actually negotiated and came to a very good deal. So then that brings me, because I told you guys I was going to share how exactly I was able to save up to $5,000. So like I said, I had a range of base rent. Honestly, I didn't want any base rent over 2,000. Even if I saw some over 2,000, I didn't even go that way at all. So my base rent was literally between 1,800 to 2,000 for all the apartments I was considering. However, this particular one, which was their wild card, like in the list they gave me, they were like, this is the best. I was almost not going to go there, but I'm like, oh, let me just go by. I ended up really loving it. It was new and everything. But for that apartment, they were giving up to 2 months free, like 8 weeks free. And like, let's just use a base rent of 2,000. 2 months already 4,000, right? And they were also giving me $1,000 gift card if I applied within 24 hours. So the application was like, you pay the application fee of $29 and the deposit of $250, either $250 or $200. But why this was a no-brainer for me to do, even if I had not decided whether I was going to stay there, was because like I was not signing the lease, I was just applying. And if I decided not to sign the lease, my deposit was refundable, so the $250 was refundable. So the only thing I was going to lose was $29. In the grand scheme of things, I'm like, losing $29 was that's just like lunch or something. And so it was a no-brainer to just like apply within 24 hours to lock in that $1,000 gift card. $1,000 gift card that I could use to buy anything. That's an amount saved. 2 months, that's already like 4K, that's already 5K. But my agent was then able to negotiate, oh, can you give us two more weeks? So I was able to negotiate up to 10 weeks free. So that's 2.5 months. And so 2.5 months already 5K. My gift card, 6K. And then she was like, free parking, like add free parking. And so that way, like the officer or whoever you want, the staff was like, oh, I need to talk to my manager about this and get back to you. And when they went talk to the manager and got back, they agreed for just 6 months free parking. And I think parking is like $65, right? Yeah, so that's like, let's say $70. So 7 times 6, that's like $420. So that's like an extra $420 saved. So you can see that this actually even more than 6K actually. So yeah, that's what I was able to save, more than $5,000 on rent. And it makes sense because like I said, any other place I was going to be around the same base rent. For them not giving me anything there, I was going to pay that money either ways. But now I'm not paying and I was able to save. So what they can do is that with this savings, they can prorate your rent. So can prorate it down to like 1.5 something or 1.6, or you can decide to just like, oh no, I'll pay the normal rent. And when it's time for the free rent, let me not just pay rent for that month. And I think that's what I'm going to do. It's just better you just like be able to save the bulk rather than like spreading it out, which I don't really trust myself to spread it out correctly. For lessons learned or mistakes you should avoid, I'll say don't get too emotionally attached to an apartment. I know there was one apartment I really wanted, and like things that were said on their website when we got there was like no concessions, no this, and I was like trying to now reduce like my requirement just to fit in. But thank God I was open to just seeing others, and I saw like apartments way better that are even giving me deals. So please don't get too emotionally attached, and maybe start early so that you're not so desperate and think like you have to just settle on one. Secondly, do not assume price listed is the final price. You can negotiate, like I said, try to get more concessions and things which actually reduce your listed price. Finally, I would say don't focus on just the monthly rent, focus on the full package, like their utilities, parking, things like that, and see whether it's a good deal overall rather than just like the base rent. And so yeah, this channel will just be more about things like this, honestly, like just navigating life, finances, making good choices. How can I improve myself better and improve you guys better that are watching me? So please subscribe, join the tribe, and let's grow together. Until next time, continue to live consciously, and I'll see you in my next video.